Okay, so let me get started here. What I'm working on here is nothing that I really invented. I think that what I'd like to call this is like a pickup version of a roll-off. And how I got started on this was that I really had a pallet stacker from a previous thing I was getting stuff down off of for my home, off of trucks and so forth. So I had a pallet stacker. I got it really cheap. And of course here's the thing of it. So that's one of the main ingredients of what I have going on here. But what I wanted to do, I created this because of course I want to be able to get stuff up and down off my pickup easily, but more it's just for fun. I had the stuff. I was looking for something fun to build. I've built other stuff in the past, and so I had the pallet stacker. That's one of the main ingredients. The other main ingredient is this steel here. I have several of these. I think I got 3 20-foot sections of this. Dirt cheap, like $125 for a 21-foot section. I mean, that if you look at the price of steel, that's dirt cheap. So it's probably actually heavier than it needs to be, and overbuilt. But I was going to do a whole build series now. I don't know I'm up for that. I don't spend that much time here, and what I decided to do is maybe I would just put together a short series with just checkpoints like this one. This will be the first one, although I've probably got 20 hours in this already. And I also, I was surprised I'd put a video out about this thing, and maybe I'll redo it because it was kind of silly. I kind of did it, but I got views on this. I'll try to do a separate one on it. But the thing that was interesting about it is that if you put impact or drill driver on that, you could extend the boom in and out. I did a lot of work on that, so I thought, why not? I'll try doing what this is. So let me go over some of the main parts of it. What I have here is it's just long enough to go in a short bed pickup truck. I got a Chevy 2500, 6.5-foot bed. So if you look at how that would fit, I went back and forth on doing it with tailgate. I mean, it really wouldn't work well with the tailgate because it's really heavy, and I would have had to make so many compromises. So this one's made to be tailgate off while it's in. It's also made to be, I have these other stands here. It's made to be done in a way so that you can put it on or off by yourself. Back to pick up to here. There's rollers, of course, different parts. They keep backing up and putting it on. I have it on these stands right now because I was testing the lift and so forth, and I can do some demonstration. I did some rough wiring and just cobbled it together for a bit to test it. But at this point, I didn't video anything because I thought, oh, this might not work out. But now it looks pretty certain it's going to work out. So I thought I would just do some checkpoints. So this is the pallet stacker. Of course, the actions that are going to be here, there's 3 different actions. This is all going to tilt up and down. It's going to be sitting in the pickup bed. This should, with the actual trolley or whatever you call it that goes on here, is going to come in above the wheel wells in the truck. So, but this, of course, would tilt up or down, and then this whole tray would go down to the ground. And the last part, of course, is that in the way a roll-off works is that the trolley, or whatever you would call it, is going to come down off of there by the winch. So, if you would take into the way, and I'll do a demo when I can, the way it would work is that, you'd put what you have. In my case, my first test is going to be a single motorcycle. Put it on there. You line that up behind here. You winch it up on to these rails, and then while it's lifted, then bring it up, put it down. This is, of course, the stacker. This is a one-way cylinder that came with the pallet stacker. I mean, yeah, I'd love it to be two-way, but it's what I got. So that's going to be taking care of that action. Of course, the winch takes care of the pulling the trolley up and down. This takes care of this. See, it's on rollers here, and of course the rollers that came with the pallet stacker there. And then, of course, the last motion, you might recognize these, is these are the little things that you use on camping trailers. And I was very concerned that this was going to work out. I mean, wasn't sure if it was actually going to lift it until I had one of them on there, and with just one of them, it actually picked the thing up, and I thought, okay, well, if one will pick it up, two is definitely going to work out. So, of course, I haven't put a full load on there yet, but these are 3,500 pounds a piece rated. They do make a 5,000. I didn't want to break the bank and go, I mean, that's always an option for putting 5,000 on. And, of course, this is the hydraulic pump that came with the pallet stacker. And, you know, if anybody does watch this and you go out and pallet stacker is like, I got this thing for $300. I mean, it was broken. I had to put a switch and a few things in it, and but it worked for what I needed it to, and I didn't need it anymore. But, you know, if you're going to go out and look at pallet stackers, like these things, like 5,000 and up new, except for the manual ones, but this one had, of course, this was part of it. I looked into making this all hydraulic. The big thing with these is that these are made specifically for a pallet stacker. They're not two-way, they're one-way, so it raises the cylinder, gravity brings it back. There's no real easy way that I thought to change that. I mean, if I wanted to go to full hydraulic, it would basically be replacing everything. I'd be replacing, maybe be able to keep that cylinder, but I'd have to replace this with something with two-way valves and, you know, get new things. So the electric, you know, was kind of my backup plan and what I went with for price and just the time I had to spend on this. So this is where I'm at in the project. Some of the engineering, there's nothing here that I've really invented. Maybe a few things that, you know, are different. Like when this thing is in the pickup bed and it's up, you know, I want to be able to do boats on here like I have a canoe. I made it so that there's no end on these rails, so that if I have something that keeps on going, like I had an angle and I want a boat to go up above my cab on the truck bed, it can do it. I'd have to design the trolley a certain way. This trolley here, you know, my initial test is going to be a single motorcycle. Some of the other things I got in mind is a double motorcycle setup, probably using the same trolley and you know, just a box for like dumping or packing stuff in, whatever, and perhaps I, you know, make those as modular things that sit on this one. Maybe I make a new one. And of course, I think the boat thing I talked about would be its own setup, made of lighter metal, because it would just be, you know, a canoe. So as I go through this, you'll see some of the different components. This hinge, I bought it it was just off eBay. It was like a dump truck hinge or a dump trailer hinge. So it's fairly stout. I tried to get stout things. I've recycled a lot of the stuff from the pallet stacker. Like you'll see things like here, steel here, is actually the pallet forks off of it. Of course, this here is the main structure of the pallet stacker. And, you know, of course, the heavy steel that I bought, the motor, these would have been like the legs. I did change this one. I'll kind of show you the difference between each side. This is like the legs to the pallet stacker, which I removed and turned sideways and made into this. I originally had both of them this way, but one of the engineering challenges that I have had to do, and I sat over there in the chair with the six-pack, just stared at it for a while, was where to put this motor. And you know, I toyed with the idea of putting it behind or swing away behind the truck or something, but I decided if I made room here that it would fit, and I'm glad I did it. Now, the plan is that other than this, the back of the bed would be about right here for your pickup. You know, one concern I have is that, you know, there's going to be room between that and the bumper there. You know, there's some things I could do, but I'm a little bit worried about the clearances there. Some other things I want to do, you know, I'm not really happy with how wobbly these things could be, these weld-on. I mean, it'll do the job. I don't think it'll fall over, but I'd like a little more stable feeling when I actually have this thing. You know, right now it's sitting on these blocks, but when I got the ones, and the reason these are on the back is because you know, if this is hanging out over the bumper, to actually start taking it out, I can put those legs on here, pick it up, and start getting it out from underneath the truck, or on top of the truck. And so that's some of the challenges. You know, another one is the wiring for the winch. Because that's all going to slide, you know, I can't really just run a wire up to that winch, or the set of wiring, because it's going to be moving up and back. I think I can grab onto it right here. Show you slide. Well, it's held up by the cylinder. And that's another little problem, is that little bit of slack there. Of course, you know, if I was building this completely from scratch, I would put like a big long cylinder and have it push out here, you know, out behind it. But this is what I got. It's what I got to work with for now. You know, maybe if it goes so well, I want to do that, then great. So yeah, there's a few little problems I have with it. Like it gets a little bound up when this is completely out. I haven't done a full test of it yet. But here's what it is. So I'm going to put this out there. I don't know if anybody will watch it. You know, some of the things, I watch a lot of build videos from some other guys, mostly around cars, and you know, it seems like they put themselves out there. A lot of the feedback they get around, hey, you know, one, you're gonna shoot your eye out, fine. You can say that. I don't know if I'll comment that. You know, my welds are crap, or my tools are junk, and okay, you know. On the welding, I will say, you know, this is the first time I had you know, for the most part I did okay. I'm not a professional welder, but I've been experimenting more with really high heat on this heavy metal and preheating, trying to get it to burn in. I know the welds are good. Some of them may not look that great. I went over, and there's been a couple cases where I ran out of gas, welding gas, and you know, there's a few I'm not happy with, or a few where I was like holding it up with one foot while I tack it, or, you know, I can clean up later. Yeah, but those, if you got constructive criticism, that's fine, but it seems like, you know, a lot of these guys that put themselves out there, they just, you know, there's a lot of haters out there just looking to bash you, and that's fine. I'm not that sensitive. I'll probably just laugh at you and move along. But want it to be fun. It's been a lot of fun. And like I said, I'll never get my money out of this. I'll never really get the usage out of it that was warrant putting in this type of effort, but this is fun to me. You know, it's like working on a project, doing something that maybe somebody else hasn't done, and do that. Now, like I said, my first time I'd really plan to use this, I'd start thinking about is we're supposed to go out west this year, and it may be a two-part trip where, you know, me and my friend have our motorcycle part of the trip, and then I have my camper or whatever. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. Is you know, my idea is like if I and my wife were going out and take a camper, and my truck's way bigger than my camper. It's just 6,000 pounds, you know, and my Duramax would probably pull 14,000 pounds. So, you know, putting this in a motorcycle in the back where, you know, by myself, I could put this up, take my motorcycle off and on in just a few minutes. I mean, that would pay its way to me. But, you know, like I said, you have a couple guys and somebody will say, oh, you could just get two guys and put your motorcycle in the back. Yeah, I could. But this is much more fun, right? So, a lovely day in western Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh. But what I'll plan on doing is just not really doing a build video where you're sitting there looking at me and fast, but just do some checkpoints like this, release them as separate videos. And we'll see how it goes. Maybe nobody will watch it, but I mean, I'm just working off of a knockoff GoPro here, and if the audio sucks, so yeah, this is just what I got. So, all right, this is part one. Let me know if anybody watches this, what you think. Like I said, I'm expecting negative, but you know, I'm always open to constructive ideas and criticism. All right, that's it.